November 25th, more powerful than dynamite. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. First to the Jew, then to the Gentile. Romans 1:16. On November 25th, 1867, Alfred Nobel was patenting dynamite, a very potent explosive made up of nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin at room temperature is an explosive liquid substance and a very unstable one, that when absorbed in a solid environment becomes a more stable explosive. The word dynamite comes from the Greek dunamis, which means potentiality, power, movement. Alfred Nobel decided to name his invention dynamite for its destructive power, thinking precisely of this Greek verb. Now Romans tells us that the gospel is dunamis, power to save everyone who believes. In this sense, the gospel is like dynamite, to shatter all the walls and the devil's chains of oppression, something like a real weapon of mass destruction against the empire of sin. Romans establishes an order of priorities in our spiritual battle against evil, and the strategy to rescue those who are under the satanic deception of sin. The real power is in preaching the gospel. The first thing people have to recognize is that they are hopelessly lost in sin, with no chance of escaping death unless they accept the atoning sacrifice of Christ. There is nothing we can do for ourselves to attain salvation, except to decide to accept it. It is wonderful to know that salvation is completely free. It is at our disposal without us having to make any sacrifice. If we admit our sinfulness, repent, and accept Christ and his death in our place, salvation is ours. For this very reason, Paul says, he was not ashamed of the gospel. The gospel may sound like nonsense or something obsolete to skeptics, but the truth is that the gospel is the only opportunity we have to escape our destiny of death. Witnessing for Christ in this secular and supposedly post-Christian society can generate fears and insecurities. However, we should not be discouraged by such opposition. We should not let embarrassment triumph. The gospel is power, and power is not something you should be embarrassed about. We know what the message of salvation can generate in the lives of people. Let's not allow shame to turn off that power. Today, become a terrorist of the gospel, detonating the good news with power. Far from taking lives, we will be saving them. Remember, today may never come again, so be a blessing to others.